Picture this. You drop your kid off at kindergarten, and instead of a bright classroom full of posters, little desks, and worksheets, you see tiny children pulling on rain suits, stuffing mittens into pockets, and marching outside like it's a normal school day, even though it's cold, windy, and drizzling. If you're American, your brain instantly goes, wait, this is allowed? Because in Norway, a lot of the things Americans consider shocking in early childhood are not only normal. They're the point. And before you think this is just a quirky Scandinavian trend, stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Norwegian kindergarten looks the way it does, what values are behind it, and which parts might actually make sense, no matter where you live. I'm going to walk you through 7 things Americans often find shocking about kindergarten in Norway. Not to say one country is perfect and the other is wrong, but to show how 2 cultures can look at the same goal, raising healthy, capable kids, and choose totally different paths. And number 6 is the one parents argue about the most, because it comes down to something deeper than rules. It comes down to trust. Alright. Let's start with the first shock. The first thing Americans find shocking is how much time Norwegian kids spend outside, almost no matter the weather. In the US, outdoor time is often treated like a bonus. If the weather is nice, the kids go out. If it's too cold, too hot, too wet, or too windy, the playground stays empty and everyone stays indoors. In Norway, outdoor time is closer to a daily requirement. Rain? They put on rain gear. Cold? They add layers. Wind? They adjust the plan. The question isn't, should we go outside? The question is, what do we need to wear to go outside? That's why Norwegian kindergartens often have rows of tiny snowsuits, waterproof pants, wool base layers, thick socks, and little reflective vests hanging neatly in cubbies. It can look intense to an American parent because it feels like the kids are being sent out into the wilderness. But to Norwegians, it's normal childhood. The idea is simple: kids need fresh air, movement, and space. And when outdoor time is a routine, it stops being dramatic. The kids don't beg to stay inside. They don't treat it like a special event. It becomes what we do. And here's the thing most people miss: it's not random outdoor chaos. It's structured. Teachers plan it. They supervise it. They build the day around it. Many Norwegian parents will tell you something like this: bad weather isn't a reason to stay inside. It's just a clothing problem. Now, if you're American, you might be thinking, okay, but what about sickness? That's part of the mindset difference. In Norway, the belief is often that fresh air and movement support health. Being outdoors doesn't automatically mean getting sick. And when kids are dressed properly, warm and dry, the outdoors becomes a comfortable place, not a dangerous one. So the first shock is outdoor time in almost any weather. But the second shock is even bigger. The second thing Americans find shocking is that Norwegian kids are often allowed to play with what looks like more risk. Let's be clear. There's a difference between risk and danger. Danger is something that is likely to seriously hurt a child, especially if nobody is watching. Risk is something that feels a little scary but is managed, supervised, and within reasonable limits, like climbing, balancing, jumping, or using simple tools in a guided activity. In many American settings, the adult approach is, remove the risk so nobody gets hurt. In many Norwegian settings, the approach is, teach kids to handle risk so they learn judgment. So you might see kids climbing higher than you'd expect. You might see them playing rough and tumble games more freely. You might see them using small knives for supervised whittling activities, or learning how to safely roast food over a fire in outdoor programs. To an American parent, this can feel like the adults are being too relaxed. But to Norwegians, it can look like real-life skill building. Because here's the logic. Kids who never practice risk don't magically become safe adults. They become adults who don't know their limits. They don't recognize danger signs. They don't have confidence in their bodies. They panic. So the idea is to let kids test themselves, while adults are nearby, watching, guiding, and stepping in when needed. It's not anything goes. It's more like, we'll give you challenges, but we'll also teach you how to handle them. And when children are trusted with small risks early, many of them become calmer about risk later. It stops being thrilling. It becomes normal. Now, the third thing Americans often find shocking is the biggest difference of all, especially if you're used to a school-focused culture. Norwegian kindergarten tends to have less early academics, and more learning through play. In the US, a lot of parents feel pressure early. They want their child reading sooner, writing sooner, doing math sooner. Kindergarten is often seen as the first step into real school. So there can be a big focus on letters, numbers, worksheets, and structured learning. In Norway, kindergarten is often treated differently. It's more about social skills, emotional development, language growth through conversation, physical play, and learning independence. That doesn't mean kids don't learn. They learn constantly. But the learning is often woven into real life. Storytelling, pretend play, building games, singing, outdoor exploration, talking, negotiating, solving small conflicts, and developing the ability to focus in a natural way. And this is important. In many places, Norwegian children start formal schooling at a later age than Americans expect. So kindergarten isn't pressured to become mini-school. Instead, it's designed to support childhood. A lot of Americans hear this and think, wait, so they're behind? But that's not necessarily how it works. Kids develop at different speeds, and many education experts argue that strong social skills, curiosity, and emotional regulation create a foundation for academic success later. In other words, Norwegian kindergarten often invests in what's underneath learning, not just what's on the worksheet. And that leads right into shock number 4, because once you stop turning kindergarten into a mini-school, you start focusing on something else: independence. The fourth thing Americans find shocking is how early Norwegian kindergartens train independence. If you've ever had to get a young child dressed in a hurry, you know the temptation. You do it for them because it's faster. Shoes, jacket, zipper, hat, done. In many Norwegian kindergartens, it's normal for kids to practice doing these things themselves, even if it takes longer. They learn to put on their boots. They learn to zip their jackets. They learn to manage layers. They learn where their things belong. They learn how to pack, how to tidy up, how to help prepare simple items, how to take responsibility for small routines. This can look slow and messy to an American parent. But to Norwegians, it's teaching something powerful: you can do hard things. When kids get to practice independence daily, they stop seeing themselves as helpless. They become problem solvers. They learn patience. They build confidence without needing a motivational speech. And it's not just about dressing. It's also about decision-making in play. Kids often get space to try, fail, adjust, and try again, without an adult immediately stepping in to fix everything. Of course, adults still help. But the help is often aimed at guiding the child to do it, rather than doing it for them. Now, shock number 5 sounds small at first, but it's one that surprises Americans a lot, especially parents: the food and lunch culture. In the US, school food can be a big topic. Hot lunches, cafeteria menus, snacks, treats, themed parties, sugary rewards, and constant variety. Some schools are super healthy, some aren't, but food is often a major part of the daily conversation. In Norway, kindergarten food routines are often simpler. Many kids bring a packed lunch, often something straightforward. Think sandwiches, fruit, maybe yogurt, maybe a small snack. Nothing flashy. Nothing meant to entertain. And the eating routine is often calm. Kids sit, eat, talk, and then move on. To an American parent, this can look boring. But that's the point. Because when food isn't a daily spectacle, kids learn a steady relationship with eating. It becomes normal fuel, not a constant dopamine event. Also, many Norwegian parents prefer consistent, predictable routines. Not just for food, everything. And consistent routines tend to reduce stress for kids. When kids know what to expect, they often melt down less. Now, not every kindergarten is the same. Not every family eats the same. But the general vibe is often simple, steady, practical. And now we get to shock number 6, the one that causes the most debate. The sixth thing Americans often find shocking is how much trust is placed in teachers and the system. In the US, many parents feel like they have to manage everything. They want frequent updates. They want photos. They want constant communication. They want to monitor every detail because they don't feel safe handing over trust automatically. And that's not because American parents don't love their kids. It's because the culture often teaches them that if you don't watch everything, something will go wrong. In Norway, there tends to be more baseline trust in institutions and professionals, especially in early childhood education. So parents may not expect daily proof that their child is okay. They may not ask for constant confirmation. They may assume the staff is competent, trained, and doing the right thing. That doesn't mean parents don't care. It means the relationship is different. And here's why this matters: when trust is high, the environment feels calmer. The adults aren't constantly suspicious of each other. Teachers aren't always performing for approval. Parents aren't always anxious. Kids feel that calmness. But this is also where Americans might push back hard. Because trust depends on context. If you've lived in a place where institutions don't feel reliable, it's hard to just trust the system. So when Americans see a Norwegian kindergarten letting kids play outside in the rain, climb higher, and take small risks, they don't just see a different educational philosophy. They see a different trust culture. And that's why this topic becomes so emotional. Some Americans watch this and think, wow, what a peaceful way to raise kids. Other Americans watch and think, nope. That would make me anxious all day. And both reactions are real. Now, the final shock, shock number 7, connects everything we've discussed so far. The seventh thing Americans often find shocking is the discipline style: more guidance, less punishment. In many American environments, discipline can feel like a quick system. Do something wrong, get a consequence. Lose a privilege. Time out. Behavior chart. Immediate correction. Norwegian kindergarten discipline is often more focused on teaching emotional regulation and social skills. That means adults might spend more time helping kids name feelings, understand what happened, and find a better way to handle it next time. Instead of "stop that," the message might sound more like, "I see you're angry. I won't let you hit. Let's find another way." Instead of "you're in trouble," it might be, "we need to make it right." Instead of shame, it leans toward guidance. Now, again, this isn't perfect everywhere. Every adult has bad days. Every kindergarten has different rules. But the general idea is that behavior is communication. If a child is acting out, the question isn't just, how do we stop this? The question is, what skill is missing here? Maybe they don't know how to wait. Maybe they don't know how to ask for space. Maybe they don't know how to calm down. Maybe they don't have the words. So the adults try to teach the skill. And when kids learn these skills early, they often carry them into school, friendships, and family life. Now, let's put it all together. When Americans see Norwegian kindergarten, the surface-level shocks are obvious. Kids outside in cold weather. Kids climbing and taking risks. Less academic pressure. More independence. Simpler food routines. Less helicopter communication. Calmer discipline. But underneath all of that is a single theme, a different idea of what childhood is supposed to be. In the American mindset, childhood is often something you manage. You schedule it. You protect it. You optimize it. In the Norwegian mindset, childhood is often something you allow. You structure it, yes, but you leave room for it to breathe. You let kids be kids longer. You prioritize community skills. You give them daily practice in real life. And you trust that learning will come. So here's the question. Which one is right? The honest answer is, it depends. Every country has strengths and weaknesses. Every family has different needs. Every child is different. But even if you never move to Norway, this comparison can still be useful, because it forces you to ask something important. What kind of adult are we trying to raise? Are we aiming for a child who follows instructions perfectly, or a child who can make good decisions when nobody is watching? Are we aiming for early academic performance, or long-term confidence and curiosity? Are we aiming for zero risk, or the ability to handle risk responsibly? And here's a small challenge you can try, no matter where you live. Pick just one Norwegian idea and test it for a week. Maybe it's more outdoor time. Maybe it's letting your child do one task independently, even if it takes longer. Maybe it's calming your discipline approach by focusing on teaching the skill, not just punishing the behavior. Maybe it's simplifying routines to make life feel less chaotic. You don't have to copy a whole country. You can borrow a principle. Now I want to hear from you. Which of the 7 shocked you the most? Was it the outdoor time? The risk play? The lack of early academics? The independence? The food routine? The trust culture? Or the calm discipline? And which one do you actually wish existed more in American kindergarten? Drop your answer in the comments, because I'm genuinely curious where people land on this. And if you want more Norway versus America culture shocks, schools, parenting, daily life, and the things visitors never expect, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because the next video is going to dive into Norwegian school routines that would seriously surprise most American parents. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.